Welcome in, everyone. I'm Jill Savage. We made it back to Dallas. Let's go ahead and bring in our editor-in-chief, Matthew Peterson.
It's great to be back in Dallas, except it was awful fun in D.C.
It was. And our D.C. politics editor, he's still back there, Chris Bedford.
I think we're going to have to coordinate really well next time. No more, surprise visits always welcome, but I need to come up with the next Bedford bar crawl, the new D.C. bar tour. We got a lot to explore, you two.
Yes. Well, there's so much to explore. So let's get right into the news, because we had Blaze national correspondent Julio Rosas. He was out there actually in D.C. testifying before the House Committee on Homeland Security. And he went through and exposed how Democrats allegedly cooperated with all of the NGOs to facilitate the invasion that we all know happened at the southern border.
I've been covering the U.S.-Mexico border as a reporter since 2019. I saw firsthand how secure the southern border was during President Trump's first term. The numbers don't lie. The videos don't lie. What our country experienced was a deliberate invasion at the behest of the previous administration. Their efforts could not have been possible without the non-governmental organizations who provided the federal government the ability to flood our country with people who brazenly cross our borders illegally. The NGOs located along the border were often the first place processed migrants went to after being released by Border Patrol. These organizations helped the Biden-Harris administration avoid the bad optics of released migrants having to be on the street due to the large volume of overcrowding in certain sectors. The reason why it's important to not let this happen again is because the 4-year-long border crisis facilitated by these NGOs is the reason why there are riots in sanctuary cities today.
So, Matt, I want to start with you. We look at this, they would tell us it's a conspiracy. It's being ignored right out there. Even some other right-wing outlets wouldn't even be reporting on this. Now it seems like such an obvious thing to you and I, but this is still an issue.
Yeah, what's wild about this is it's happening in broad daylight in front of everyone's face, and it's been going on for a long time. And you're talking about billions of dollars. Just think of the audacity. Billions of dollars of your own money being used by the government and given to people who are going to help bring in millions and millions of people illegally. And this happened in America over the last however many years. And the fact that it's even a thing in the news that we have to talk about is ridiculous. It's reality. And they used your money to ruin your country and drag it down. And, thank God Julio and Mike Howell were out there today talking about this.
Yeah. And Chris, they were going through and they enabled the catch and release stuff. We saw the hundreds of thousands of children that have been involved in the billions and billions of dollars. This thing was just a mess. And it's good that we're actually trying to get to the bottom of it there on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, it's essential. And I've actually got a special guest myself. This is a panel show now from Washington, D.C.
There we go.
Because Mommy's also live at the same time, and she reserved this spot first. So we get an extra guest. But, when I came to D.C. in 2004, a long time ago now, immigration was not something that people talked about. Stephen Miller would start talking about it. He came on the scene just a few short years later. Center for Immigration Studies was talking about it. Jeff Sessions was talking about it. But Republicans didn't want to handle it. It was abortion to them. It was not something, there was something they could talk about a little. They didn't even actually want to talk about it. Remember, they expelled Steve King and called him a racist because he was trying to fight about this sort of thing. The way that President Trump and powered by the electorate have shifted this issue is just incredible over these last couple of years. And they also remember that Joe Biden, in part, won the Democratic nomination because he was the only person on the main stage of that primary who said that we shouldn't decriminalize border crossings. Well, as we've learned since, because of Mike Howell's work, because of Julio's work, because of the reporting here at the Blaze and elsewhere, that Joe Biden wasn't in charge. Joe Biden wasn't running it. So the other people, the nitwits who were on that stage ended up getting up there and making those decisions. And a lot of that was probably done with his blessing or without his knowledge. He was a lot more liberal than he pretended. And over these last couple of years, they've turned something where 20, 30, 40, 50% of the population was waking up to a serious issue, one that affects my neighborhood, one that affects my town, into a majority of Americans were experiencing this as a really serious issue. So we've all been through discussions with our family members, friends, loved ones, where they say, well, that's just Fox News reporting. That's just Blaze News reporting. That's just Glenn Beck or Tucker Carlson. That's not real. And you got people like Julio down there showing them the footage. It's really important to do that and to bring it to Capitol Hill. I mean, we all know that hearings can be frustrating. They don't solve things very often these days. Congress just wants to often hear itself talk. But when you actually, there's an important degree to it where there's a credentialing that's being done right now to our excellent reporters who go out there, put themselves in harm's way to bring us the truth, to bring us the footage, to bring us the interviews, to put this beyond the scope of what's realistic or what can be denied and what cannot, and what must be admitted. And when Congress has them here, all dressed up in a suit with a Marine Corps pin on, speaking extremely eloquently about the risks that this is posing to the United States, to communities, to cities, to officers, well, that's just an important step in bringing this further and further and further into mainstream consciousness and understanding until we get to a point where it's just now we have to argue like we've kind of gotten to. Democrats don't deny it anymore. They just now have to say it's a good thing. Mm-hmm. And, that's a fight that I'm willing to have. And I think the American people are backing.
Yeah, you mentioned Oversight Project President Mike Howell. He's also a friend of the show. He was out there testifying. So let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Simply put, under the Biden administration's open border policies, the government could only do so much to facilitate mass illegal immigration, welcome illegal aliens into the United States, and move them around the country. The Biden administration needed help, so they drove an estimated $6 billion to a conglomerate of 15 UN agencies and over 200 nonprofits, as recently calculated by the Center for Immigration Studies, to do the open borders work for them.
Now, that was part of Mike's opening testimony, but what we didn't see there, Chris, is that Ranking Member Thompson was actually trying to throw out Mike Howell's opening statements. He was saying he was addressing the violence against the ICE agents and the improper use of congressional oversight, right? Like, you're just putting something out there for an opening statement, and they're like, no, I don't think we can have that. We need to try and do that again. And Mike Howell's like, reclaiming my time, like the boss that he is.
Mike Howell is one of my favorite people, even though I'm the one who lives in Washington. You guys introduced me to him. Matt's the one who introduced me to him. And now it's gotten to a point where I overheard a different reporter for a different outlet doing an interview. And I said, well, you talking to Mike? I could just hear a little bit on the other side. And they said, no, I was talking to his deputy. I said, well, that person got trained well because his style and his pit bull style, his deep dive investigations, his complete and total unwillingness to even let friends and allies say, why don't you not go down that path? Why don't you? That's going to cause trouble for this Republican or that Republican. He doesn't care at all. He's going to try and get to the truth. And he knows this stuff. He knows it in and out. He's been around this town for a long time. So when he comes to give testimony to Congress and Democrats just try to say, yeah, do that. Well, he's not listening. He realizes the actual way this is being played. And it was a fun day in DC, except for the heat and the broken down car.
And, I look at it, Matt, and I'm just glad that Mike Howell's on our side and that we don't have to go up and fight against him.
Yeah, I mean, Howell was one of the easiest people to bring on as a contributor ever, because just looking at him like, you belong contributing to us. So we're happy that he contributes to our investigative efforts. And this was an important day because both of these guys brought receipts. They just brought reality. I mean, this wasn't actually a very partisan thing. What they didn't want to hear was the fact that at least $6 billion was going directly from our own agencies, and not just USAID either. You're talking about DHS. You're talking about not just the State Department, but FEMA, Health and Human Services, just giving out this money to NGOs to help facilitate the flow of illegal labor into this country, including over 500,000 children, right? 10 of which they just picked up at the pot farm in California. So this was a great day for the DC office, and it looks like it's a great day for Bedford's child.
It is, and I think that we need to get Josephine. She needs to be the next Blaze contributor. I think that's going to be just the resounding statement from the audience. We always love having baby Josephine on with you, Chris.
I'm sorry she kind of stole your style here today.
She did. We matched. We called each other. Actually, you don't know that I have baby Josephine's phone number, and we talked.
You hear that? You're looking sharp.
She is looking sharp. Bedford, thanks so much for the time. We really appreciate it. As always, we'll see you again tomorrow.